Hey there, and welcome to episode number 11 of Wrestling with the Mind. I'm Matt Sigmund, health coach by day, wrestler by night. Today I'm excited to share a chat that I had with longtime friend, wrestler turned promoter, Tony Givens. Tony is one of the hardest working people I know in wrestling, and he has a very unique perspective when it comes to his mental health journey and dealing with a lot of what the wrestling business has thrown at him over the years. So I'm excited to share that with you today. I recently asked what some ideas were that you guys had to add to the podcast. A lot were wanting some mental health tips, so I thought I'd bring one starting today. And the first one I wanted to bring to attention here was taking a break throughout your day. We often get tied up in work or other activities where we are hyper-focused. Maybe we are sitting at a computer all day or just sitting at a desk. We forget to get up. We don't get enough movement in throughout the day, and that can lead to so many challenges, both physically and mentally. And I wanted to highlight some of the benefits that taking a break throughout the day can do for you. Taking breaks throughout the day can help prevent and reduce stress. It allows you to decompress and manage stress better. It can also enhance your mood. Breaks are a great way to break up routine, engage in something that helps you relax, like a walk or stretch. They can help improve your physical health as well. Even just moving a little bit every hour can have long-term benefits when it comes to more serious issues, so with obesity, heart disease, depression, diabetes, and more. Frequent breaks can also help restore your motivation and fuel your creativity. So I encourage you all to set a reminder, an alarm on your phone, whatever it might work for you. For me, it's Post-it notes on monitors and things to get up every once in a while. Just go for a quick walk around the house, around the property, get outside for a minute, stretch, go do something to get your brain off whatever you've been working on just for a moment. And then you can come back and dive into work, and I promise it will add to your day. Now, as we do every week, I'm going to do a guided meditation before we hop into the chat with Tony. If this is not your thing, feel free to skip ahead a minute or so and hop right into the chat. But if this is of interest to you, you can start by finding a comfortable and seated position. Now, this is either on a chair or on the floor, whatever works for you. Rest your hands in your lap or on your knees, whatever feels most natural. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with air. Slowly exhale through your mouth. Let go of any stress or tension that you may be holding on to. As you continue to breathe, bring your focus to the present moment. Notice any sounds around you, the feeling of the air on your skin, and the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your body. If your mind starts to wander off, simply acknowledge any thoughts that have come up and gently bring your focus back to your breathing. Take a few more deep breaths. Feel your body relax more and more with each exhale. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel. And remember that you can return to this state of calm and relaxation whenever you need it. Now let's hop into our chat with Tony Givens. Hey Tony, my friend, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I told you right before we started recording, I'm pretty tired today, which can make things a little frustrating, but when you sit back and you really think about how the day's going, I can't complain much.
Yeah, me either.
Well, thank you, number one, for carving out a little bit of your time here to hop on and chat about mental health and just some of your journey as well. It's much appreciated, as always.
Not a problem, man. Serious subject.
Yeah, very serious. And you know, I know we've known each other for how long have we known each other now, Tony? It's been
a long, long time.
It's been a hot minute, and so
I don't even. I've lost count, man. At least I don't know, At least 15, 16 years,
Yeah,
maybe
and
longer than that.
the wrestling fans will, especially those in the Tennessee area, the regional area, will know about Innovate Wrestling or dating back to CWA and things that you've ran over the years. But for those that don't really know you, or those that are not even involved or have thoughts or knowledge about wrestling, give us a little bit of an intro to yourself.
I'm the dude that shouldn't be. Um, I started at wrestling at 17 years old in 2000, and it was a weird time in East Tennessee wrestling because, like, you probably know a whole bunch of dudes that are 40, but you don't know anybody that's 45. It was like there was a group of people in this area that started around the same time. We were, young, very young men, and there was this crazy generation gap. So everybody we were wrestling was um, like 30 or something. So it was incredibly awkward. After a couple of years, I thought the style of wrestling here was very stagnant. So I wanted something different. I wanted to bring in something a younger style. At that point, I started running. At the time, it was New South Wrestling, which like I was the original New South Wrestling. Okay, then we changed the name to just Championship Wrestling, and then CWA, and then NWA Smoky Mountain, and then Innovate Wrestling. And I think this is the last one. But
Yeah, you think you'll keep it?
yeah, the weird thing is like people will probably think like he must have stopped running like 15 times. No, I just kept running. Just different situations called me for name changes.
Well, and
But yeah,
from the outside looking in, just from my perspective, and I've seen everything from before I started working with you to like watching the company evolve, and that's exactly what I think it's done. I think that each little step has been a step bigger, larger, and has
yeah,
grown into something outside of the region. You've
yeah.
created a brand that people really across the country at this point have come to see shows and appreciate the product that you're putting out there. So I think it's grown over the years. You've not really changed because of necessity in a bad way. You've changed because it has expanded and grown.
Yeah, and the products got better, but really, all of independent wrestling's got better.
So true.
Um, I mean, like I'm sure when you started, like if you went to a show and there was five guys that could work, it was a good damn show.
It's so true.
Now, like there's tons of guys that can actually work, and it's not embarrassing to watch them. Independent wrestling, there was times like man, I was embarrassed to be involved with some of these events that I started on. It was like it was rough to tell your friends to come to see your match because they had to see everything else. But
Right.
now, I mean, I think we've all built something in independent wrestling that we can be proud of.
I believe so too. And you have this unique perspective, which is another reason I wanted to talk to you today from the mental health side of it all, right? You have done both in the ring, you've promoted shows, you've done every role pretty much within your own company as you've grown it over the years, video and just commentary. I've watched you do it all. And I had Brian Hawks on here a couple weeks ago just chatting about the mental health load he takes on from just being the promoter side. But you have done every piece of the puzzle here. And so what has wrestling overall done to your mental health, both good and bad?
It's unbelievable stress. However, my day job, very early in the day, is I'm an operations manager at FedEx. Dealing with the different personalities in wrestling has helped me tremendously in my manager career, my career in management, because I deal with a very unique group of people in wrestling that you just don't see. And if you can handle wrestlers, if you can handle managing wrestlers, handling managing any job is pretty becomes pretty easy. Uh, Even though it's very stressful, the only way to learn how to deal with stress is to have stress. So I mean, I've learned a lot just from that side of wrestling, just from dealing with the challenges. I've used the challenges as an opportunity to become a better person in
Right.
general, more real. more well-rounded professionally.
And I can see firsthand, just from being in your locker rooms over the years, how dealing with some of the talent could add to your stress load, number one, but give you the tools to help in future situations. Because, I mean, it's a wild crew. And in locker rooms, especially, 10, 15 years ago, you never really knew what exactly you're walking into that night.
I will tell you, now, everything's pretty tame. That's not necessarily the NWA Smoky Mountain, but the CWA crew was off the rails. I mean, I mean, off the rails.
I mean, I've been in locker rooms where, the guys will be arguing, or you'll walk in and police follow up and arrest somebody in the locker room for something wild and crazy, or there'll have been drama with family outside of wrestling and they show up in the locker room and just it turns into chaos. And I have watched it over the last several years slowly improve into this more professional environment. And I think a lot of it is the business in general, and most entertainment has done a good job of cleaning itself up. I think, people are more aware of situations from social media and things, which social media can be both good and bad, but I think it has held entertainment in general up to a higher standard for the most part. And the wrestling community has had to adapt. So I think that's been one of the pluses over the years.
The dangers of and the things that wrestlers went through from a prior generation, I think that has taught all of us what not to do, and that's helped. The wrestling business and it's at FedEx. One of the things they teach us is that to use opportunities as failures. It's one of the things they teach in the management class, and I think that's what the overall wrestling business has done. They've used the failures of a previous generation to improve, especially as far as some of the culture.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you're talking about from it was like Wild West back in the day in the locker room.
And you know what? Another thing is, if you see all your heroes die of things that, and not all of them, but, a lot of, but you've seen some people that have passed away at an early age from things that they've done. That's a very cautionary tale for those of us who are in the business.
And then you meet some of your heroes that you had as a kid, and they're instantly no longer your heroes after you see the real person,
Yeah.
Because there's just like I was saying, Wild West, there's some characters out there, and you really never know what you're walking into. But that said, you mentioned how the stress has been a prominent feature over the years for you as a promoter and wrestler and all that. What are some of the ways that you take care of yourself? What are some of the self-care opportunities that you go for when that stress is high, and how do you prioritize that?
Well, not only my entire life, and this is like the struggle I have every day. I have incredibly bad ADHD. Like no joke. Like I hate hearing jokes about it. Like because it is a thing. Like it's not just hyperactivity. It's just that your mind's racing in a million ways. I will walk into rooms and forget why I walked into the room. I will go from 1 minute to the next. I'll just forget what I'm talking or thinking about. I literally have to. I read a lot of books, a lot of self-help books. I take medicine. So I would encourage anybody, like it is. There's no shame to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And if you have to be prescribed medicine, there's no shame in that either. I also take nootropics, and I did a lot of studying on nootropics. It is like in medication designed to increase focus. Like I take, you seen the movie Limitless?
Mm-hmm.
There's a real pill that movie is based off of. It's called adrenaline.
Okay.
Sometime around maybe 2015, I started taking that. I mean, it's like a miracle drug. You know what I'm saying? Like really, but there's so much bad when you get into the nootropics. I would encourage everybody that's interested in it's basically brain supplements, you know.
Okay, so
Um,
like a brain
like on
stimulating
like
supplement.
on it or what was the stuff that Steve Austin used to advertise all the time? Alpha Brain or something like that.
Right, yeah, just
So
just
similar like that. Like really, if you're going to try something like that, like definitely do some research because there is some just junk out there. But you know, the stuff that I take, I did research, and it has helped me a lot. On top of the fact that I do take medicine for ADHD and medicine for the depression that comes with ADHD.
Mhm.
Um, there are some there are sometimes I will go through this like seasonal depression. Uh, there was one year in particular, the entire month of December, I didn't answer a single message on Facebook or uh, text or anything.
Oh, so that's why I was left on red, right?
Actually, you were on the first. You were the first one of the first people I talked to because it was showing in Greenville in January.
Yeah.
And I talked about this. Like I haven't talked to anybody. It's like I didn't talk to anybody for an entire month. Uh,
Was that a
yeah, it
good
wasn't.
shift or a bad shift?
It was bad. Because I think you need people.
I do too. I
Yeah,
fully agree that you need a community. You need people to bounce things off of. And
yeah,
then I do know occasionally it can be good to, maybe not a whole month, but it can be good to pull
yeah,
away for a few days and just have that space.
yeah. It's just it's like a seasonal thing, literally, because it is generally like your holidays, and I don't know why, but yeah, sometimes I just get in the mood where it's like I don't want to do anything, and I had to fight that too. Like literally, the way to fight that is instead of motivation, learning repetition, and making things automated things like sit down and have a checklist, go down the checklist and do things that way, as opposed to just trying to like listen to Tony Robbins every day and like I've got this now.
Right.
Because yeah, it'll last for a week, it might last for a month, but eventually, um, you know, you're just gonna be right back in the same rut. So, I have learned to deal with things by having checklists and creating habits.
Okay. So it
Um,
sounds like you find a lot of value there in adding a little bit more structure to your day.
Yeah, because I mean the thing about ADHD is like you're all over the place. So your brain's running a million miles a minute. Like I even on my checklist of things, I even include things that I know to do every day because I read a book called The Checklist Manifesto about this hospital that was like one of the worst hospitals in the country for staph infection.
Hmm.
And then they turned it completely around because they created a checklist that everybody had to check off. And the first thing on the checklist was wash your hands. Like literally that simple. Wash your hands, put on your gloves. Something that you would think would just be common, routine.
Change the
But
entire
even
direction of a
it
facility.
changed the entire direction of the facility just simply by creating this checklist that was so thorough. And it seems kind of silly, like, oh, I know to do that.
You know,
Dude, if
and that
yeah, I
said,
mean,
I don't.
clearly they didn't.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's so crazy in general because look at today and how people are with their phones, right? We are so distracted with things like social media and just having that phone in the hand 24/7 that it's not uncommon to see people just kind of forget normal processes that should be adhered to. And then so implementing something of a checklist that you got to go and knock off each day could probably steer things back in the right direction for a lot of people.
Yeah, the problem with phones and social media is it lowers dopamine levels
Hmm.
because you're instantly rewarded, whether it be by entertainment or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially TikTok. I don't have that because every time you change videos, the reward scenario of your brain is getting a new reward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
So
we're
eventually, I mean,
desensitizing ourselves.
it's desensitizing your dopamine levels. So I mean, like, I don't want to be the guy because there's positive social media, and the truth is, you know how to use it. in any kind of technological advancement, you can use it to your advantage. Like the truth is, my promoting, I do 90, not even 90, I do 100% of my promoting on social media. I'm not going to tell it. There's levels to it. There's secrets to the things I do that I'm just not telling anybody.
Right.
Because everybody does the things that I do, but nobody does the things that I do. I know that sounds completely crazy, but there are levels to that,
and that shows too. I mean, just if you take a look at the crowds.
Since I came back from the pandemic, I have not drawn a crowd that's under like 400 people, which is I did better business, ever since we returned. And I haven't hung a single poster. I haven't bought a single piece of paper advertising. Haven't bought a radio ad. Haven't bought a TV ad. None of it.
Do you feel that's just because we're so addicted to our phones as a whole now?
Oh yeah, I use this advantage. During the pandemic, I used the time. I studied marketing that wasn't toward wrestling.
Right.
I studied marketing, social media marketing in general, but I took the marketing from a very specific type of business. If I tell everybody, they're going to look it up. So I got to dance around this. But I took it from other businesses, in other industries. I took classes to see how they did social media marketing, and I applied it to the wrestling business. And the thing is, like, as my crowd grows, it'll be cheaper for me to advertise towards the existing customers the way that I'm doing things. Mm-hmm. Somebody pays me, I might tell them how to do it. But,
right. Well, no, they can't do a masterclass.
They can't be in this area. That's
right.
That's the cake. I can't tell everybody.
100-mile radius.
If anybody in Seattle wants to know the secret, hit me up.
Be careful, they'll move here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, and the truth is, the way my system would work even better in bigger markets. But hey, it's working here, so it works. But yeah. As good as social media has been to me, it could also be bad, very bad, because in the wrong hands, it could turn people into zombies as far as like the dopamine of just, and I kind of worry about the generation coming up because they've grown up with this their entire life. So it's literally just video. And every time the video changes, like it's the dopamine center of your brain just bam, triggers. And then eventually it becomes, what is there to actually get excited for? Because
and that's another thing. Yeah. It's when you're looking at it just from a mental perspective here, it takes the joy out of a lot of our sources of entertainment. We can't be intrigued by long-term storytelling anymore. Everybody wants the instant gratification. And that applies to movies, music, and in wrestling in particular. We went from being able to tell long storytelling matches to where, highlight GIF animations going on Twitter viral, whatever. People just want to see the car crash.
The perfect example wrestling was about, being desensitized is going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, the Great Muta. Man, he did that moonsault, and I was like, when I was a kid, like, oh my God, this man did a backflip off the top rope.
Yeah.
Now you got to do two of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, where does it end? If you're that style of wrestler, where does it end?
And it's a danger to the business in terms of just longevity and careers too.
It is, and you're one of the guys that gets it, because ultimately a good story never dies.
Yeah. So that don't mean I haven't been stupid over the years too, Tony.
No. I mean, we all have. It's like there was a time I went to my chiropractor and he showed me an X-ray. He's like, at some point you've broken your tailbone, and I was like, when the hell did I break my tailbone? Then I thought I took an atomic drop on top of a cage.
Oh,
like
that'll do it.
Just stupidity.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like the thousandth time you've seen a moonsault, it's not that big of a deal. Matt Seidel told me one time. I brought him in, and he told me, I really wish I would have got a different move over because
Yeah, because
every
then you're
time he goes,
expected to hit it every day.
somewhere, they expect him that shooting star press, and a lot can go wrong with that. And that is a move that you can't do your entire career. And
No.
Ricky Morton is out here still going. He's out here still going, and he might occasionally throw in a new wrinkle,
Yeah.
but the stuff that got him over originally is stuff he can still do.
It's so true. So true.
Yeah,
How do you feel the business from just the wrestlers taking better care of their health, their mental health? How do you feel that has improved over the years that you've noticed?
it's made things more professional. You don't see the crazy wild men. I mean, like some of these guys back in the day were out of their mind, man. Mental health in general, society has become a little more sensitive. But the one thing that I can say about the society becoming a little more sensitive is society becoming a little more accepting of mental health,
Mm-hmm.
of people having legitimate issues, not just like, toughen up, kid. You know, um, you got to take care of your mind. You got to take care of your mental health and your outlook of things.
And there used to be
Um,
a time wrestling wise when it was like, hey, if you're not making it to the show, you better be in jail or dead.
yeah. Oh no. Or yeah, you're expected to miss every holiday.
Yeah.
Or
And then you watch all their families deteriorate
yeah,
and,
I
and
never.
whatnot.
Hey, I never went to my senior prom.
Yeah.
Like I had a booking.
I didn't go on my senior trip.
Yeah.
Bookings.
I mean, I don't miss it. Or I'm not like I miss a hole in my life because
Right,
of it. But
right.
it's the kind of thing like I was taught that I literally like this. My father, who's passed away now, but he got real sick and like was declared clinically dead like in the middle of the night on like a Friday or something, right?
Right.
But he woke up and he was fine. Um, he was still in the hospital and everything, but he was alive. Myself and my brother went to Moorhead, West Virginia, the very next morning,
Just to make it
uh,
down.
just to make the town. Just because, and I think about that, I'm like, man, that was stupid. And because he wasn't out of the woods, but it was. What was the point?
Right.
I don't know that one. I don't think that one trip to Moorhead, Kentucky, changed my career that much.
Right. you know, it's wild what we look back and what we did, and maybe I don't know if you go back and change it. I guess you would, but I feel that we did learn some valuable lessons at this point in life, looking back at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, it's okay not to take every booking that is thrown in your way too, because
That's so true.
That was also something back. We're starting out. It was like, who's running on a Tuesday? Yeah, it's like you're going into Tuesday, and the guys. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that run Tuesdays and actually draw somewhere, but I'll be going wrestling in like Bluewell, West Virginia, in front of like four people in a building with no heat in the winter. I was like, what was the
It's so
point?
true. I look back, in my 2006, 7, 8,
It was a
it
bump
was
card,
it was 6 nights a week. We did every night but Monday
Yeah.
night. We were doing
Mm-hmm.
like Tennessee on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday. That was all like Sevierville, Alcoa, Seymour, Tennessee, and Morristown, and then we do like Nashville on Fridays, Kentucky or Ohio or the Carolinas on Saturday. Then every Sunday we were down in Warner Robins, Georgia, and I was doing that. I was juggling college and trying to handle my relationship and family, and I don't know how I survived.
In a lot of ways, you do have to at least wrestle it. At least really Friday through Sunday. That's good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unless there is somebody on a Tuesday that's like really rocking it out.
And now,
But
it is more accepted now too. People
yeah,
take mental health breaks, and then promoters, fans all support it. They look at them, they go, "Okay, you need some time off. You need to take that time to heal your mind or your body, whatever it may be."
yeah,
And I think that makes it for a much better environment for
yeah.
everybody to be in.
Far more accepting. And that might have been why everybody was so crazy. It was like, especially, man, there was a point I was running Wednesdays in Bristol at a skating rink, drawing like nobody just to run.
Just to do it.
And then we were on Thursdays, we were going to Morristown.
Yeah.
It was it just ridiculous. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere else. It was literally like just a run, like, and I felt that I needed to, man. But really, I don't think I did. I don't think I gained a whole lot from that. Maybe anything.
Live and learn.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the one. And the one thing here is another thing that's affected my mental health over the years was I did not come for money, and I did not have money when I was running some of these events. I literally just had to wing it, take a hit if I had to, because the guys that needed to get paid, I wasn't going to rip them off. It wasn't their fault if it didn't do well. But that
Right.
was a mental stress. Hey, nothing is more mental stress than being broke.
That's true. That's true. And in the wrestling business, it's a little better now, but when we did
Yeah,
start, it was starving artist kind of work.
yeah,
And,
exactly.
not
Yeah,
knowing if that next bit of money from whatever event's going to be there really at the end of the day, and
man,
trying to make it on that.
there was a point where I started out working. I was working part time at FedEx before I finally climbed the ladder, and and I've been there 20 years. Finally climbed the ladder to up the management chain. But man, I was making $176 a week, and my TV spot was 175. I used the extra dollar to pay for the money order because they had to take a month. They wanted to take a money order, so I had to have drawn or I wouldn't have had any money the whole week. I'd have to go down and chase down like sponsors, like because I had weekly sponsors. I had to go chase them down. Some weeks they'd be like, "Oh, I can't pay this week." I'm like, well, "I've already ran your ad," you know, because that's wrestling and that's local business. But yeah, like there was a whole different layer of mental aspects because some people make it in something else before they run, and more power to them. That's cool.
Hmm.
But I was like, I'm just gonna do this with no money and see if I can build myself up that way. And I'm
Yeah,
still here. I'm
you
still
are,
here. So I learned.
and
I
still
learned.
running.
Yeah. So I learned those lessons, but I learned them the hard way. And a
Right.
lot of it might become. I mean, because I didn't come from money, so it wasn't like I had parents to teach me this stuff either. About budgets and or anything.
There are people who are listening right now who, like you, maybe are having a very challenging time financially, having a lot of stress in their life, going through a pretty heavy mental load. What would you tell those people to help them out?
Hang in there. Consistency. I have been with the same woman for 20 years. I have run wrestling shows for 22 years. I have had my job at FedEx for 22 years. So the secret to my success is consistency. I literally just hung in there. And and all those things, there was a million times that I should have quit. View all your failures as opportunities and build upon that, but just don't give up.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and personally, like you were saying, the consistency. Our families hold us together.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, our wives are picking us up when,
Oh yeah, Jesus
and they're
Christ.
going through their own battles. And your wife especially, just coming
Yeah,
on the tail end here of going through cancer,
yeah,
and still kind of they're putting all that support on with us too, and it's very powerful to have
yeah.
that
And
extra
I know that's
support.
the one thing. I know you have a wonderful wife. I have a wonderful wife, and that's one of those things where that helps. Be careful who you choose.
Mm.
Because I've seen some people choose some bad people. Don't just jump into anything. Because,
We've watched
uh,
it
you know,
firsthand, haven't we?
Oh, a million times. Hey, having a good woman can be an incredible asset. It'll build you. Or man, I mean, I'm not. I'm tolerant and inclusive. If you're having a good partner, I should say. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
and
don't want
just
to offend
community in
anybody.
general, your
Yeah.
friends too, and the
Friends,
peers, the people,
absolutely.
in wrestling, the people you travel
And
with, the
God
people
knows
you
you can
wrestle.
choose some wrong. You can choose some wrong friends in wrestling too.
Brother, we've lived it, burnt bridges,
Hell
and
yeah.
gone on. Yeah. Well, I do thank you for carving some time out here today to chat and share a little bit about your journey and all the craziness around the wrestling business that goes with it. Where can we find you? Do a little bit of promoting here.
You can find me on look on Facebook, Innovate Wrestling. Twitter, I think it's Innovate PW. And I think it's Innovate Wrestling on Instagram too. So you can follow the company where they're me. These days I'm trying to remain a little bit more private. Uh, but you could go follow me on Twitter at Tony Givens.
Awesome. And check out those Innovate Wrestling events. They're always top quality from top to bottom. I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of them once in a while, but
Yeah.
he really does get a wonderful crew from literally all around the country these days. So,
That's right.
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Tony, my friend, and we will chat soon.
All right. Thank you.
I want to thank Tony again for hopping on and carving a little bit of time out of his day. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in as well. If you haven't done so already, go on your favorite podcast service, wherever you're listening to this. Be sure to subscribe, click that download button, leave a review. All those things help us. Hop on our social media pages, which you can find over at wrestlingmind.com. Share the word, help us get it out. That's how we connect with more people and help others. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Get out and make the most of today.